Well, hello to all of you, and it's a great pleasure to have so many of you online, and equally to have Richard very early in the morning. Richard, what time is it there in Brisbane right now?
It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 o'clock in the morning. And we've got Lee in Dubai, which and I think it's 9 o'clock at night there. So we've got a very cosmopolitan panel tonight from all corners of the earth, and all of us looking tired because it's crazy hours of the time. But we are super excited to be launching a concept that we've been talking about for years, and that Richard and Lee have been working on very aggressively over the last basically 6 months or more. And tonight and today is the final day where it's all coming together. And so I just wanted to share with you some slides and a little bit of get-go, before I hand over. And just be careful, I can hear some background noise there. Where's it coming from? Just maybe Richard and Lee, mute yourself if you don't want to, if you're not talking. So just in terms of why we're doing this and why is the Wealth University important, I heard a great saying 2 days ago that if you get clear on the why, the how, no matter how difficult it is, you can figure out a way once you've got clear on the why. And so for us, the first thing is that everything that we've done to date when we've built these companies and tried to add value is you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. So let me be clear, and say that again. You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Now, we're living in very interesting times. We've gone through this dramatic shift from old power to new power. And what I think is really important is that whether you talk about the property industry or the real estate industry or just investing full stop, or even the wealth space, it's pretty much the old power was just about complying and regulation and consuming. Whereas the new power now is about sharing, it's about affiliating, it's about adapting, it's about funding, even being shareholders in the company, it's about producing, and ultimately it's about shaping. And when you take into account the likes of Wikipedia, we see a future where people are going to be helping us shape this economy. Our ecosystem that we've built and been attempting to build over the last many, many years, it started with Wealth Migrate. Wealth Migrate being the platform where people can invest in first world countries, England, Australia, and America, through a platform. Now we effectively are launching the Wealth University, and that's all about the learning and what we call the TED Talks for Wealth. We've got the Wealth Movement, which is really it's our live events, and it's where we bring these experts, and we'll talk a bit more about this tonight. And then with time in the future, not yet, ideal is to go down to ultimately launch Wealth Create, where we get it down to $1 per person per investment. Now, Lee, if you could do me a favor, I'm not going to play the whole video tonight because it's nearly 6 minutes long, but there's a great video, the ecosystem video, which Lee will put into the dashboard. And if you haven't seen it before, just literally Google Global Wealth Group ecosystem, and you can actually watch that video, which will explain to you the different parts. Now, a much more visual and better way to look at this is that Richard actually put this together when we were talking about the Amazon of real estate, the Amazon of property, and all the different parts which come into play. And the first part that we did was the invest part, and that was Wealth Migrate. And what is Wealth Migrate? Well, you've got trusted partners in first world countries like England, Australia, and America. They list their product on the platform. You and I get to participate, and ultimately there's 4 simple steps on how we can invest in terms of signing up, selecting a deal, transacting online, and managing your portfolio. The challenge is that the massive gap in the market is really around education, because you can provide people with the solution, but unless they have the knowledge, unless they've got the self-confidence, they don't have the ability to take action. And that's where the education part comes in. And many of you have seen this slide before. It's something we put together. Online education, there's been massive adoption around the world, whether we talk about Khan Academy or Udemy or Udacity or Stanford Online. When you talk about online investing, there's been large growth, but not huge adoption yet. And it comes down to exactly what I was talking about in terms of the training and the understanding and the self-belief. And so when you bring those two together, why for us the Wealth University is as important, if not more important than Wealth Migrate, is that it actually bridges those two, and it helps build trust. And ultimately people can learn, and while they're learning, they can actually learn while doing, and ultimately when they want to invest, they've got the platforms to invest. And so it's without further ado and a huge amount of excitement that tonight the purpose of this webinar, and it could be tomorrow or during the day, depending on what time zones you're in and whether you're listening to the recording, is that what we wanted to share with you tonight was the launch of the Wealth University. And we've been in beta mode for the last 6 months, and now we effectively are officially launching. And before I hand over to Richard and Lee, who have worked so hard on this, you can actually see the website here where I've gone to it. And I'd love to just play you the clip, which is relevant purely to the Wealth University. And so I'm just going to click here and play it live straight off the website.
Wealthuniversity.org is a video-based e-learning platform for those who want their wealth knowledge to take off. Our research shows that the wealth mindset is the single most important aspect of creating and sustaining wealth. Test your wealth IQ and challenge friends and family to find out theirs. Acquire the thinking, secrets, habits, and proven success strategies used by the world's wealthiest investors, as well as that of our global community, who aren't just talking about it, but are actually creating it. Graduate and change your destiny and your future.
So in the old days, 20th century stuff, you went to school, you went to university, you got a degree, and then you went out and executed. Even in the property world, you would often read a book, or you'd go on a course, and then you go try and invest. And we believe that the world has fundamentally shifted now. And that's why I'm so excited about the launch of the Wealth University, and ultimately bringing the intersection of learning and being able to invest in anything wealth related into where we are. And it's without further ado that I wanted to hand over to Richard. Now, just as a quick intro to Richard, before I get started, Richard and I have known each other since 2008. Ironically, we met each other through education-based marketing. I'm quite embarrassed by the videos that I made many years ago around investing in Australia, and he was one of the major players in a company that was helping people invest in Australia, and they actually found me on YouTube, and we met up, and I was really intrigued by their integrity and how they looked after the investors, and we built a great relationship. And from there, he moved on and has helped numerous other companies in the investment space. But he has a very distinct knowledge around the real estate space, global real estate investing, and also all the education components and how important they are. And so it's with a huge amount of appreciation, actually, that I wanted to hand over to Richard, who wanted to share. I said to him this morning, even though it's 3 a.m. in the morning, you just got such a magical energy about this space and where the world's going and why learning is so important, and how there's a huge opportunity within the real estate space and the wealth space and the investing space for people to actually be able to go to the next level. And so, Richard, thank you very much for being online at 3 a.m. in the morning, and I really look forward to what you want to share. And I want to bring up the first slide for you, which you wanted to talk about.
Okay, thank you, Scott, and hello to everybody. Please just bear with me at 3 o'clock in the morning. But I think, Scott, you pretty much covered the background, and you and I are both on the same page in terms of the importance of education. And I guess education is the foundation, really, of everything that we're trying to do and trying to achieve. Because if you don't understand, then really you're not going to move forward. And really, it's a little bit about change. And I found these slides, and I asked Scott to add them in just for everybody. The one that's up there at the moment is just an old photo from 1987 of Shanghai, and talking about change. And Scott, if you wouldn't mind just bringing up the next one, this is more or less Shanghai 5 or 6 years ago. So the obvious visual significance there of change is quite dramatic, and obviously it's centered around what we're doing here in real estate, and a lot of this in terms with China's been education, it's been growth, and things have really rocketed forward, as we know, for those emerging countries. And I guess when it comes to a country like Australia, we're bombarded with education, change, and it's quite significant because our cities are growing at a rapid rate, even with a population of only 25 million. And one of the biggest countries in the world or continents, we have cities that are congested. And many years ago, I guess the policy started in Australia where center all the development around transit-orientated developments, or TODs as they were called. And it's basically a city like Sydney or Brisbane. There's no really other place for it to go except up. So high-rise, everything was designed for high-rise. And what they've done over the last few years is, over the last sort of 20 years, is implement strategic town planning effectively, so they can spread that congestion out from the cities more and more, and through transit-orientated developments. And what it is basically creating satellite suburbs amongst high-growth, nominated high-growth areas well in advance. So the government would spend the infrastructure, build and create jobs, create roads, trains, transport, so people would effectively go there and live there and work outside of the city. And these are basically called satellite cities, connected by the transit corridors. And where the change is now moving forward is into smart cities. And we've probably all heard a little bit more about smart cities with technology. And basically what it is a digital overlay of technology on top of these new design cities and these new ways of living. And there's really sort of 3 or 4 aspects with smart cities around technology, and that's focusing on the changing infrastructure, things like security around there, and the management, the internal management of the city and the operation of the city. And it's underpinned by that smart technologies. So, and within these sort of smart changing environments, if you like, now everything's becoming smarter. That's where a lot of the opportunities, are rapidly evolving with this combination and this coming of age of technology. And little things that you're noticing, even in the cities here in Australia, the office spaces are shrinking in size. The workplace is changing dramatically now. People are working from home. Corporate companies are allowing people to work from home or work in a different environment. You're finding now if a lot of the buildings are not geared up for smart technology, they can be a little bit harder to sort of lease out. So as a landlord, those are the sort of things that we're moving into, those sorts of spaces now. In the residential space, there's a tremendous amount happening around just residential construction, residential housing technologies. And you've also got this huge silver, as they call it, silver tsunami, which is the retirement, the aging populations. Australia's aging. We're one of the sort of aging countries, if you like. So there's people moving into these new types of housing, and a lot of it's centered around hospitals because they want the healthcare. So there's all these types of changing environments where the opportunities are lying, and that's the sort of things that we really want to sort of focus on with this emergence of technology, not just the emergence of technology, but the opportunities it's creating, with real estate as well. So Scott, if you wouldn't mind sort of moving along a little bit there. This is basically, in a nutshell, an overview of what a smart technology or a smart city is. It's connected. It's connected. We're connected to the city. The management, through apps, through technology, and moving forward, we're going to find that most of the cities around the world are going to slowly adopt these types of technologies, and with that comes the need for different types of real estate as well. And that's where if we keep in mind this collision of technology and real estate is coming to. So please move along, Scott. And I just thought I'd bring up this interesting graph because basically everything's going to go smart in every way, and this is where these opportunities are going to lie. Smart healthcare, buildings, real estate's all going to change. The transportation hubs, the infrastructure, the educational system here is going to change, and around the world, security, energy, and in terms of real estate, this is going to have a huge impact on, basically what types of buildings they're going to refurbish, what types of new buildings are going to be created, what kind of new developments are going to be sought after and developed, moving forward. So please move along, Scott. Again, there's we're just a couple of slides behind, but that's just an overview of a smart city, if you like, and certainly the focus on all town planning, as I mentioned before, is really getting these environments up to spec, in terms of the healthcare and every facet of operations, really. So in terms of real estate and buildings now, and this is what's become a very, very sort of sought after, and the types of things that are.
Sorry, just before we move on, I just wanted to point out, because we're going to talk a lot tonight about the intersection of exponential technologies and the real estate space. And when you look at the smart city diagram you've got here, there are so many exponential technologies that are actually here: intelligent shopping, Internet of Things, smart energy, etc. Smart parking, vehicles, etc. I just wanted to point it out: smart buildings, because when we talk later about exponential technologies, people can actually see how it's interacting in the property space.
Yeah, 100%, Scott. And really, if we just move forward now, again, in just having a little look at some of the types of technologies. People talk about artificial intelligence and how that's going to have an effect on everything, including real estate. You've got these powerful algorithms now that can work out patterns and trends, and in a huge, vast amount of data. I think there's something like 4,000 data points, things like climate, what's the competition up to, the proximity to transportation, demographics, and everything surrounding sort of due diligence. And you're going to have machines making predictions, on our behalf, and decisions more efficiently than we can. The information transparency for buyers and sellers, and for us, in real estate is just going to become clearer and clearer and more readily available. So in terms of like property investors, there's combined with artificial intelligence and new softwares and apps. It's just going to be so much more of a open environment, moving forward with information being at hand. So, and the next thing, which is basically that sort of digital overlay on a city, is really the Internet of Things, which I want to touch on a little bit. But here in front of us, we've got some of the disruptive technologies that are going to sort of impact real estate, which we want to cover with the Wealth University on how it's going to impact it, what's happening out in the marketplace, who's doing what, and really sort of uncover where things are heading. 3D printing, medical innovation, autonomous vehicles. These are the sort of touch points now that are all going to have that sort of flow-on effect in real estate and certainly in town planning and development as we move forward. So please move forward. Thanks, Scott.
Just a comment there before I move on, Richard. The other thing that we're wanting to achieve within the Wealth University is that it won't be necessarily Richard, Lee, or Scott that's trying to talk about each and every one of these. We want to bring in the best of breed globally in this authoritative space in all these areas, because it's moving so fast that the whole idea behind the Wealth University is to try bring the best together in all those different spaces.
Yeah, in terms of the changes of real estate and what type of opportunities, you look at something like, just one example, like Uber and their flying cars, and there's a lot of noise and rumblings going on. Is it going to happen? Is it going to? How's it going to affect? But we've got now architects, leading architectural firms, major developers, town planning, all trying to work out how this is going to come together. So if you think about it in terms of a building, an average building with a rooftop space that hasn't been used, it could potentially be designed in the future for something to accept, Uber's flying cars. You can fly from the suburbs into into the city if you happen to work in the city, and all of a sudden a valuable rooftop space becomes prime real estate. Is it something that Uber's going to potentially lease out for 15 years? Is it going to change the dynamics of the financials of a high-rise development? What kind of businesses are going to flow on from that? Are you going to have convenience stores as people step outside, their Uber platform on top of a building? And even in the suburbs now, is the valuable real estate going to be around, areas like bus terminals, which have been converted? Is there going to be mixed-use environments? And it's all that type of sort of planning that's going to change, real estate. And with these types of technologies, coming into things, the opportunities are going to be there if we can see them in advance and spot the opportunities moving forward. So thank you, Scott. Another industry which we're all getting familiar with now is the world of 3D printing. Nowadays they can print building materials. There's even if you move on to the next slide, Scott, I've got an image there of a small pedestrian bridge that they designed. Anyway. I'll talk about it. It's certainly available to have a look at. The first pedestrian bridge in China, which was printed by 3D technology, which is absolutely fascinating. And construction's changing now, where they can print walls, and completely change the time frames it takes to build a house or a development. There's so much happening around that space and so much investment going into it just to affect, just the construction industry alone, speeding up things. Oh, thank you. You found that one?
I found it for you.
There it is.
It's amazing what Google can do for you.
Yeah. We should be able to do that with technology. Thanks anyway, Scott.
So just in terms of the breakdown and all these different trends and everything that's happening, what we wanted to do now, Richard, was pivot to Lee to talk about some of the communities that we've been driving up until now, so that people can learn about it and understand them and grow. I'm not, obviously the slide with the bridge seems to have disappeared. Was there anything else that you wanted to go through before we pivot to Lee, and then we can obviously go through this in more detail?
No, so I think that's a good start, and we'll just move into Lee, into the details.
Perfect. So I think just as an introduction to Lee, I met Lee, probably 5 years or more ago. I met Derek, Lee's husband, probably 15 years ago, and they live in Dubai, and again have had a very long history in the property space. But where Lee has really come into her flow and found her area of passion is in communities. She's been instrumental in helping us with the whole Cedars campaign that we did, and ultimately driving the communities and helping add value to the communities in terms of where we are. And so it's with a huge amount of honor that I wanted to invite Lee to talk around, because the Wealth University is not about individuals. It's not about you just going to Harvard to learn something. It's as important when you go to Harvard about what you learn as to who you connect with and the communities and the environment that you're part of. The only challenge we believe is that Harvard's part of the 20th century, and now you need to be part of the 21st century. So without further ado, Lee, I wanted to hand over to you and just talk through some of the groups that we've created over the years and how you see them evolving and adding even further value.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for joining us. It really is exciting over the last year or so to watch how our social media groups have grown and how people instinctively share on them. Our exponential technologies group, our crypto blockchain groups, various Telegram groups and that. Our universes from all over the globe are colliding, and people are adding value every step of the way. Now we want to structure this a little bit more. And if you can have a look at those two, those two will specifically be moving in under the Digital Real Estate Mastermind. But if you just look at these pictures over here, you can see the amount of sharing that just happens. And it's really value add, because I don't have all the answers. Scott doesn't have the answers. Richard doesn't have the answers. And all our experts actually don't have the answers. And we're not on there all the time. And it is so great when we see this happening and people just coming on and contributing, because that's really what we want to build. You can learn so much by yourself, but really the true value is learning as a community where you've got a safe place to grow and ask the questions, and the person who's sitting next to you or the person that's sitting in China could. You want to go to the next one, Scott? So this is just also showing you, this is our Inner Circle, dedicated Inner Circle Facebook page. And I just actually wanted to show you that our authorities on there also come in and give contribution, and that there's Alex, who's giving us some examples and some information around what has happened to the stock market in the last week, along with posts from our different members, from Scott, from myself, interesting articles, all of that. It all adds value and the growth in education. Yep.
Just one thing, that I just wanted to share, and this is always dangerous when you laugh, but I just wanted to share with you, you should see my WhatsApp at the moment. I've been invited into a blockchain group, which is full. You can't get in, and it's by invite only. In fact, they check out your LinkedIn profile and whatever. I'm part of an AI group, and I'm just giving some examples. There's another one, 3D printing, etc. And that's just me. And the whole idea here is that obviously you're tapping in to the latest thinking around the world. And what we're trying to do is to consolidate it and bring it in one place, so that people aren't trying to fetch the information from all over the place. And obviously it's not just me, people like our other authorities, which we're going to talk about this evening, are in those same sort of spaces, and then we can consolidate it all in one place so that people can effectively have what I call hyper learning. Because, again, we can go spend all day long searching the internet, but this brings the condensed, that one group, that blockchain group, probably has 200 messages a day. I scan through it, I ignore most of the stuff, but I look for the key things that are important, and then as an example, those are the ones I share. So sorry for butting in, but I just wanted to share, there's so much good information, but you've got to be invited into the right places to learn about it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's exactly what tonight's about, is inviting our communities to come join us in the Wealth University to learn and to grow. You want to go into the next slide for us? So I'm just going to take you on a journey into what you can see from the membership side of our platform, the Wealth University, the Wealth Migrate platform. So this is the Digital Real Estate Mastermind membership site. Once you've signed up and you go in, there's a welcome page. This is on the page where it's quick to see what you're going to get, but it's also where our contributors share interesting monthly articles, additional information, anything they come across, and anything that they feel that you need to be aware of. The contributors there are, for instance, Paul Niederer, David Alban, Willem van der Post. We've got really high-end contributors. On the next slide, you can see we've got calendars that show you all our upcoming webinars, when they are, who our speakers are, what they're going to be speaking on. It's all right there for you. And we've also got a library there. So anything that we have posted, any of our backdated articles, as well as our previous webinars in there are also loaded there. You want to just go to the next slide?
Just before we go to the next slide, Lee, I just wanted to share with people, because I love going live. So if you take what Lee and Richard are talking about, is that you've basically got the Wealth University. You can see at the top here, you've got the logins. So what she's actually sharing with you is the behind the scenes of what you get when you actually log in. And again, it's something that we're going to evolve and keep growing and adding more and more value in terms of the space. And what Lee was just showing you is that these are the lined up speakers that we've actually got over the coming months, in terms of the different areas and the different specialities that you can learn from in the different, which is all in those calendars. Now, again, these are not for public. These are only for people that are part of the mastermind. Do you want me to go to the next slide, Lee?
Yeah. Thanks. So this is just showing you if you're in there on the library, there's one of our previous webinars we had. You can go back, you can have a look at it, you can watch it anytime. So yeah, if you want to go to the next one.
So again, this was, it was interesting. About a year ago, we did a whole bunch of webinars with David Orban and a number of other experts in the crypto space. And so at the end of January, we redid the webinar with David. We had hundreds of people attend it. And, the whole idea was, where are we a year later? What is important? What do you need to know? Why did we have the crash in 2018? What impact it's going to have going forward, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So this is exactly the same. This is the membership once you've logged into the inner circle, and you can see again, you get on front page all the information that you need on basically what you're getting. Updates from our authorities and our contributors are all up there for you to see. This is just the basic landing page. We then, if you go to the next one, you can see the calendar again of the speakers that we have lined up, of when the webinars are happening, what time, what date. You can book it out in your calendar, so that you make sure that you don't miss it. What is really interesting about the inner circle is one of our contributors is and they have undertaken to, on a monthly basis, give us forex forecasts on the major currency pairing. And not only do they give us the graphs, but they give us the overlying voiceover that explains it all. So this one is just an example for March, but you can see that the top one will have the video where James is walking you through it, exactly what's happening, and underneath are the graphs. He's currently doing 7 currency pairs of the major currencies throughout the world for us. And then we also have...
Sorry, Lee,
yeah?
just before you go deeper, 2 things that I think are critically important is that in a world where information is, there's so much information, there's a plethora of information, none of us actually know where to find the right information, and it's very difficult to bring it all together and consolidate it in one place. And what we've dreamed about for years is in the likes of the inner circle is to bring this information into one place. I looked for a copy of my book here. I can't find it, quite frankly, but it was a 220 odd page book that I wrote so that I could help people go find all the information. But no one ever read the book because they don't want to make they don't want to take all the effort. Whereas now it can all come into one place. And the other thing, before we just jump on with any further information, I just wanted to point out, Richard, talk to us a little bit about Warren Ebbett, like literally the 60-second version. Who is Warren Ebbett in Australia? Because people mustn't take these names lightly. In terms of the type of people that have been invited.
Warren Ebbett is he is probably the most famous private REIT, if you like, in Australia. He currently has around about 50 properties, buildings. He's highly successful. I think he's got 42 out of the top 50 still this year. Offerings within Australia, or properties, sorry, I should say. He's considered as basically, he beats most of the public REITs in terms of returns. He's a guy that is one of these guys that can pick he's got his tactics to go out and pick an ugly duckling of a building and turn it around with his formula to improve the value of it, to improve the leases, to the tenancies. He's got a great formula. He's very well known. He's a very interesting character, but highly successful, and he's got a huge following of Australian investors for good reason. And he's been through the highs and lows. And basically, he's got columns now in Australia. He's called the Property Whisperer. I think that makes sense. He takes the ugly ducklings and does his thing with them. And yeah, he's considered one of the top commercial people in Australia.
Awesome. And I mean, many people on this call have probably heard of Hilda Lunderstedt, but equally one of the most successful ladies. She built a business, sold it for seven. I need to count how many noughts, but a couple of $100 million. She's built businesses now around the world, including done real estate investments, and recently immigrated to America in the last year. And an amazing woman that consistently wins numerous awards all over the world for success and empowerment and everything else. And I mean, it's just an example. I mean, that's not discounting all the people that have already come before. We've had some incredible names, but actually the caliber of the speakers is what I'm truly excited about. I know we were on this slide around the Forex forecast, and I just wanted to point out at the top here, Lee's obviously just showing us the slides here, but you got home, you got calendar, you got Forex forecast, you got library, and so what she's showing us here is the Forex forecast part that is actually included now within the inner circle. So it's a real value add for the investors.
Yeah, and as we said, that comes on a monthly basis, so it gets uploaded around about the 10th of every month, so April 1 will be coming soon. And then we've got the library of all our backdated webinars that we've had, so you can go back and have a look at it if you need some additional information or you missed the webinar at all. So around all of these, and Scott spoke very heavily about the communities, is we are bringing all our current groups that we have into the fold of Wealth University to create that community feel and to give our community the opportunity to speak to each other. So people within the Digital Real Estate Mastermind have a dedicated Facebook group and a dedicated WhatsApp group where they can speak to each other around the things that the Digital Real Estate Mastermind is chatting about, the latest webinar, what's coming up, what's happening. The same with the Inner Circle. We've created those groups that are specific for people within the Inner Circle, both on Facebook and on WhatsApp.
Can I share, Lee, just quickly, because I prefer to show the real thing versus slides. If we go to here, the Inner Circle slide, everyone should be able to see my screen. I just wanted to talk through a little bit about the Inner Circle because, this is what I refer to as our tip of the spear. And I say to people that there's 5 reasons why people should be involved in this. The first one is to be part of a global community. There's a great little book out there, a great little story about the 5 monkeys. Go and Google it. And ultimately, you're only as good as the 5 people you hang around with most, the 5 people that influence you the most. And I tend to say, if you look behind me, I've got pictures of Richard Branson. If you go Google me, there's pictures of me with Richard Branson on Neck Island. I don't tell you that to boast. I tell you that because I try and put myself in the room where I'm the dumbest, poorest person as often as possible. Now, is it fun? No. But what happens is that when you're part of a community that's taking you to the next level, it rises you up. And I believe that is one of the most important success strategies that there is out there. The second one is that you get to learn while doing. So again, in the 20th century, it was all about going and reading the book, going and getting a mentor, going and getting a coach, and then hopefully going and executing. Well, the stats are 96% of people don't actually execute. Okay, so they get the knowledge, but they don't implement. What we're doing with this is learning while doing, where it's a mastermind and it's an ability for people to hold each other to account and to learn while doing. The third thing is learning from mentors. We just mentioned 2 tonight, and there's plenty more, that have incredible skills and knowledge, and they want to share it with people. And so you get to learn from people that are far better. And, as Tony Robbins says, if you don't know who Tony Robbins is, he's the world's #1 success coach, business success coach. He basically says the fastest way to get successful is to copy successful people. And so, go and learn from those mentors and let them teach you. What you're going to learn from Warren Ebbett about commercial property and investing in Australia, could take years and years and years worth of knowledge, or you could, be on a call and a webinar and learn directly. And then you save time, which really ties in with what I'm talking about. Because for me, I learned this concept from Roger Hamilton. You can spend all day looking for articles on technology and property and, wealth and investing and whatever, or it can all be condensed in one place. And with condensed time, you can get far better results. And then the last one is inspiration. I find with a lot of people, whether they just want to take their first step in property or real estate investing, or whether they want to be a global investor and it's their first step in terms of investing overseas, or maybe it's their first step in investing in commercial property, or maybe it's their first step in becoming a global citizen. Every single person is at a stage of their life where they're wanting to take a step to the next level. And I believe that inspiration and self-belief is a catalyst to enable that to happen. And this is all live here. If you go to the Wealth University, you can literally go down to wealthuniversity.org. You can literally click on it. You can go to the Wealth Inner Circle. If you click on it, it will go through to this page where you can learn all about it. And you can actually see when Lee's talking about what's included, Lee, these were the groups that you were talking about. And sorry, I just wanted to get visuals so that people could actually see what you were talking about.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great, and that's exactly where we needed to go. So, yep.
So if you look here, I mean, what Lee's talking about is that within the groups, up until now, the groups have been pretty much a free-for-all. What we're going to be doing now is that they will be brought in to the inner circle. Only members of the inner circle will be able to get access to them. We are going to be, cleaning them out of people that aren't part of the inner circle, from the month of April. As Lee said, we've got access to the inner circle Facebook page. We've got the weekly wealth insights, which is, every week on a Friday, I bring out a short little video, 3 to 5 minute video on something that I've learned from one of the wealthy people that I've had the privilege of hanging around over the last 20 years. We've got the micro degrees, we've got the webinars that we've already spoken about that Lee's mentioned. With time, we've got buyers trips and ultimately, enabling people to go on buyers trips with partners. With time as well, access to extra due diligence so that people can learn. And then for me, the monthly motivational quote, sorry, not monthly, Monday. Every week we will all wake up and if you want to get stuff done, you've got to start with the right framework. And I've been collecting quotes for years. I've got hundreds, probably thousands of quotes. And every Monday we just bring out a motivational Monday to get you going, basically, in terms of that approach. So, I mean, you can see all the different speakers here. I think Lee's been through them. And, this is just the ones that really, from our perspective, that we've already done. And there's an incredible pipeline of speakers that are coming on a monthly basis in terms of where we're at. So Lee or Richard, if I missed out anything on the inner circle but that you would like to add before I move on?
No, I think in the basis of time, Scott, please move to the Digital Real Estate Mastermind.
Perfect. Lee, you happy?
Yep.
Just in terms of where we're at, if we go through so back to the Wealth University, you can see that the next thing is the Digital Real Estate Mastermind. And if I go to that page, again, it's live here. Now, Richard, I'd like you to just talk through a little bit around the Digital Real Estate Mastermind. I know that you've had tremendous experience in this sort of not only real estate space, but also the learning space within real estate, and why you get so excited around this. And you can see I brought up the screen of sort of what's involved in the Global Real Estate Mastermind.
Yeah, look, I think for me, in every sort of situation, and certainly in this country and abroad now, there is a lot of talk about how things are going to be affected in terms of real estate, and it's real estate's it's a major industry. It's ripe for disruption. And what I like about what we've put together with the Digital Real Estate Mastermind is we're covering some of the most important fundamentals that are going to have a significant impact on this industry in the coming years. Blockchain and smart contracts is the tip of the iceberg here. A lot of adoption taking place, people trying to work out how can we do it. A lot of money being put into trying to work between different organizations, government organizations in terms of blockchain, all to do with security. The exponential technology is off the charts. The amount of new technology that's coming forth, is quite incredible in a lot of areas. The tokenization, the digital currency side of things, people are pushing forward. They're trying to work out how they're going to tokenize buildings in the future. A lot of exciting developments, coming with regard to that. A lot of money being put into it as well. The future trends, smart cities being just one aspect, which affects the ramifications of that, understanding what's happening with the development side of things, what's happening with the positioning of buildings or old buildings or new buildings. Could be in the health sector or in industrial buildings, manufacturing buildings. These types of things are being talked about on a daily basis with the new trends and the new technology coming through. And in terms of the global real estate side of things, with what Wealth Migrate's done and is doing over the years. You know, for me, it's taking these things global. It's taking real estate global, with the underpinned by these fundamentals. So what I love about the Digital Real Estate Mastermind is we're bringing all of those aspects together in great detail. You know, and at the same time, we're creating the communities where people can share, they can learn. We've got the top quality experts in their field again, that are going to be doing all of the videos, the ongoing information for us, and we're bringing it all together right at that intersection of global real estate trends and the impact of technology.
You know, something else, Richard, you said to me when we were together in Bali back in October, you said, you know, Scott, there's groups for all of this. There's groups for blockchain, there's groups for exponential technology, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can run around the world getting all the information, but there's nowhere that's bringing it all together specifically for the property real estate industry. And that really was, you know, it was like a light bulb moment for me when you mentioned that, because that really, when you talk about the intersection of technology and property, that's the tipping point of which we want to stay. This is not a course you can pass because it's ever evolving and adapting. And I think what's really important is that we want to stay at that intersection, and we want global authorities, not the best in Australia, not the best in South Africa, not the best in America, not the best in China, the best globally, in terms of the authorities coming together and then sharing on a monthly basis. So you'll actually look here, if you take what Richard's spoken about, you've got all the different global authorities in the different areas. Now, we're all time poor, every single one of us. And so what we've agreed with our global authorities is that taking the concept of TED, they will basically make short videos, no more than 10 minutes, 6 to 10 minutes. And again, this is something I learned from Roger Hamilton. It's incredible because you take all the information that's happened in the month and you bring it together in like literally a short little video that people can watch. And then that will get shared with access, you know, on the private Facebook groups and the different WhatsApp and Telegram, so that people in their own time will be able to watch and stay up to date. You know, what is happening in blockchain, what is happening in digital currencies, what is happening in terms of future trends, etc. And just very short little bite-sized clips. And then what we'll be doing as well is that we'll be running, you know, an annual conference, exclusive meetups, and then my understanding is here, and it's not here for some reason, I don't know why, but we will also be going once a month, going deep dive with one of the experts, one of the authorities into their area of expertise. So, you know, like a David Orban and or one of the other authorities. I'm right in saying that, Lee. I know it's not on this website, but that is the idea, is it not?
It's, we will be having a monthly webinar with each one of them.
Cool. So just for a note, if we can just add that to this list of groups. The other thing that I think is really important that I wanted to bring up here is that in any mastermind, this was actually created by masterminds were started by Napoleon Hill. Now, if you don't know who Napoleon Hill is, he wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. It actually comes, you know, Andrew Carnegie was the one that funded him, and there's no better way to succeed in the world than actually working in masterminds. It's the future of education, and it's not where you've got one expert teaching one to many, but actually you've got a bunch of people holding each other accountable to really go to the next level in terms of it. So, you know, it's really important that you come and actually read about what a mastermind is and what you'll get. You know, you can see here on the website all the different areas, and I'm not going to talk through each and every one of them because I think they hopefully are important. But I can tell you one thing. When you look at successful teams, like and this is hard to say with Richard being on, but take the All Blacks as a rugby team, you know, or Manchester. I'm not a football guy, but I don't know, whoever the best is now, Manchester United or whoever. Or if you take Andre Agassi or, you know, or you know, Tiger Woods or whatever, all the best players in the world and all the best teams have coaches. And why? Because coaches hold you accountable. They help you go to the next level. Well, that's what masterminds do, but they help you do it at scale. And they help you do it in an area you love, and they help you advance to the next level in terms of where we're at. So you can see all the different parts, and this is the part that I just wanted to talk a little bit about, Richard. You know, who's the Digital Real Estate Mastermind for? Why? What is this? Who should be interested in this, basically?
Look, I don't think there's any sort of age limit, so to speak. You know, people in business want to keep, you know, I guess on top of the changes. These changes are going to affect us. It's going to affect all types of business, people in real estate. You know, I don't think, you know, there's any really person that can be, you know, eliminated from that category. But generally, people in business, you know, it would be perfect again for, you know, people in even leaving high school, you know, trying to bring everything together. Because one of the things I've found, you know, having teenage children as well is, you know, it's such a big topic to understand. And that's what I like about bringing it all together in one place, is those little bit of snippets, the real factual information on all of these subjects, you know, coming together at any one time. So I think, yes, people in business from, you know, from school leavers, you know, onwards, it's going to be a great medium or a great platform to, you know, again, to keep people relevant, keep them up to date. And, you know, it's also a launch pad. You know, the more you deep dive into each one of these subjects, you understand, geez, where do I have to make changes? You know, where do I have to look to? I didn't even realize that was happening, but it's happening, you know, and these are the sorts of things that can change the very facet of where your children might study in the future. You know, is that going to be relevant for them? You know, those types of things. So I think it's from very young right through to the experienced, you know, business people, interest in real estate. You know, it's technology and real estate. So hopefully that covers it for you, Scott.
And I think just to reiterate what you're saying, because I know Lee always says, you know, this is something that could be given as a gift to a child, to learn and grow, and you know, whether that's on the inner circle side or whether that's on the mastermind side. But also, this has been created primarily on the supply side for the intersection of anyone that is in the property space. You know, anyone that's in property or real estate or related to the industry or investing in the industry or whatever. You know, I tend to use the word, you know, can you afford to be part of this? You know, I actually think it's the other way around. It's can you afford not to be part of this with all the changes that you've been talking about tonight. And I think everyone is fully aware of the massive changes that are happening when technology disrupts an industry. And, you know, the purpose we've created for this is a very affordable, light touch way for people that are in industry, that are in the property space, that are in the investment or wealth space, to stay at the tipping point of what is happening and be part of the change. And you know, it actually said it here, and I want to just go back to it because I love this saying so much, by Peter Diamandis. You know, either Uber yourself or you will get Kodaked. And you know, it's you get to choose. You know, which part of the future do you want to be? I know also, and I'm bouncing around on the website here. Everyone has access to this website. You can see the link up the top here, wealthuniversity.org/digital real estate mastermind. But you can see why it was created. You know, we're talking here about the story of how in 1910, 4 out of the top 5 companies were railway companies. And, you know, Henry Ford came along and they could have bought him for pennies on the pound. And they said he was absolutely irrelevant to them, which is exactly where the property real estate industry is now. You know, they pretty much are. Technology is relevant. It doesn't change the way we do things. And yet, what happened over a 100-year period is that 80% of all transportation is now done by trucks. And the railroads are literally bought to put fiber optic cables down next to the road. And so the question, you know, that Richard is asking, that Lee is asking, that I'm asking, is that the $217 trillion real estate industry, you know, it's one of the oldest and most archaic in the world. Do you think it's going to get changed by all these trends that Richard shared tonight, and obviously many more, in terms of where it is? And if you do think that it's going to change, and if you do think that there's opportunity and or chaos, and remember, in chaos there's opportunity, then, you know, is that something that you want to be part of? And, you know, Lee and Richard have put this together with some of the speakers, some of the authorities in the different areas, you know, between Paul Neder, David Orban, Roger Willem van der Post, etc. And you can see that it's really, really important. And again, we're on a constant, ongoing endeavor to be able to improve this. So I wanted to share something with you very quickly. And if I jump back here quickly, I want to go back to this slide, because some people ask me, Scott, what's the difference between the inner circle and the mastermind? And if I bring you back to this slide here, if you remember, you've got supply on the one side and you've got demand on the other side. And so what we've done is we've created the digital real estate mastermind, primarily for people that really want to understand property, that want to understand the intersection of property or real estate and technology. And it's very much around the industry and where the opportunity lies in the industry. And I should probably recreate the slide, but if you take the inner circle, this is far more for the you, as in for everyone that wants to be an investor, for learning new investment techniques, about real estate, to grow the self-confidence, be part of the community, etc. So the way we talk about it is that the inner circle has been designed for the demand side, and the digital real estate mastermind has been designed primarily for the supply side. Now, that's not saying that as investors we can't participate, because we want to know where those opportunities are, which Richard has spoken about. Would you agree with what I've just said there, Richard or Lee, or is there anything that you would like to make clearer, before I just go into how people could participate in either the inner circle or the digital real estate mastermind?
No, I think that's no. I think the information's very much available now. It probably explains it, in quite detail. So no, I think so. I think that's fine, Scott.
Yeah, I think you covered it all. I think it's great.
So coming back to the inner circle, what we've done and how we've tried to put it together to make it as affordable as possible is that it's $25 a month. Remembering that this money is actually being used to pay for resources that in terms of running this, and now doing it far more professionally, and or it's $250 a year. So there's obviously about a 20% discount if people sign up on an annual basis. So this will be an annual membership in terms of actually being part of the inner circle. And like I said, you can go here, you can look at all the different speakers, you can see all the different things that you'll get involved. And it's very much, for me, it's the 5 things that we put together for the inner circle. And again, just to repeat, all the free groups and everything that we've been running to date, we're going to be consolidating into the inner circle. And my understanding from April is that if you're part of the inner circle, fantastic, you're going to be part of that ongoing learning, sharing, and part of the community. And if you're not part of the inner circle, then you're ultimately going to be removed from those groups, because we want to be more professional. We want, people pay, when people pay attention, when people pay, they pay attention. We actually want to raise the quality so that everyone is benefiting from them. And then what we're quite excited about is that if you take the digital real estate mastermind, and if you're interested in both of them, what Lee and Richard have agreed is that for this, and again, this is we've got there's a lot more to this, and we also have to pay the authorities. They're doing the work every month. They're bringing that information together and they're sharing it with you, and that's $99 a month and or $999 a year. Now, it's so interesting when you look at this money, because to some extent it looks like a lot of money, and then you think about even just trying to fly to America for a 2-day course and what would be included in that price, and to learn, and yet you're going to learn from some of the best from all around the world on a daily, weekly, monthly basis in terms of that process. And as you can see, I think it's about my maths, I'm a bit tired tonight, but it's probably about a 20% discount as well for people that sign up for the annual. And again, it's an annual mastermind. What is important though is that, Lee, you've agreed that anyone that signs up before the 1st of April will actually get so all they would need to do is go to the digital real estate mastermind, sign up, and if they do, they'll automatically be included in the inner circle. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We want to give people a maximum amount of value for our launch, and so we're going to include both products for the price of the digital real estate mastermind.
And that's not an April Fool's, is it?
It's not an April Fool's, but they will be caught being the April Fool if they don't take advantage of it come 1st of April when the offer disappears.
I like that. We must use that. But okay, fantastic. So we're really excited. We've been in beta phase, now we're going live. And I think also just to come back to what Lee was showing you, if you go to the Wealth University, you can actually log in now. And I can see there's a number of people online that are already wealth partners at different levels. If you're a blue level wealth partner, you automatically qualify for the inner circle, and if you're a silver level wealth partner, you automatically qualify for the digital real estate mastermind. I know Lee's been loading those people up in their different levels, so they'll be able to log in, to this process in terms of where we are. So just in conclusion, if I come back to my slides here, I'm sorry, I jumped around a little bit out of sequence there. Give me 2 seconds. We basically got the inner circle. which has primarily been designed. You can go and watch the little video here. It's a 4 or 5 minute long video around the inner circle and everything you'll get for the inner circle, why we've created it. It's primarily for investors and everyone that's on the demand side, the investment side, and ultimately you know everything that you're going to get involved in it. It's one of the things that I'm most excited about because it gives everything that that the investors want in terms of that inner circle. And I always say to people, maybe you didn't go to Harvard, maybe you haven't been part of an inner circle before. Well, now it's time to be part of a global wealth inner circle with like-minded people that can take you to the next level. And if you're really fascinated and you want to stay at the intersection of where technology is going in relation to the property and real estate, if you want to learn from global authorities in the space, if you want to condense time, if your time is valuable to you, then I believe that if you're investing in the property space, if you're part of the property or real estate space, whether you're a supplier, a contractor, an investor, a real estate investor, it doesn't matter what, even a lawyer, an accountant in the space, then I honestly believe you cannot afford not to be part of the digital real estate mastermind. And as Lee has kindly agreed with Richard, is that they're going to include the inner circle up until the 1st of April. So today's the 26th, I think, or whatever. There's about 5 days to be able to take part of that. Now, what I'd like to do, Lee and Richard, is give a sneak preview into the webinar on Thursday, which will share with people how they can build $1 million US dollar business. And not only get what we've spoken about tonight, but actually go back to the principle of Zig Ziglar, that they can have anything they want in life if they help enough other people do that. But before I do that, Lee, you had a poll that you wanted to run, and is there anything else that you want to add specifically with regards to the inner circle, the digital real estate mastermind, the Wealth University, etc.? Because I'd like to just quickly, and if there's any questions around the Wealth University, I'm going to launch the poll and just see if there's any questions that anyone's got, and then I will pivot to sharing with people Thursday and how we can people can build a $1 million US dollar business. So let's just see quickly. Will there be a recording? Yes, Martin, there will be. Calendar topics are repetitive. So Mark, in terms of that, I'm not quite sure what you mean, but it's different speakers with different angles in terms of what they're looking at. Francis says, how do we get access to the forest forecasts? If you're a member of the inner circle, then it's automatically part of the membership place. Gavin has, what is the uptake of the digital real estate mastermind? It's been amazing, Gavin, and something that we will be growing more and more. It's been actually interesting how much demand there's been from around the world within the supply space. Can one start on a monthly and convert to annually? A good question. I don't know, Lee. Do you know the answer to
that? Yeah, we can definitely make a plan to assist them with that. It's not offered directly on our platform, but we can make a plan. We'd rather have them learning and growing than excluded.
Francis has asked, how do we log into the Wealth University?
Yeah, I've said to her that I will take it offline with her, and she'll have login details to log into the Wealth University and be able to go, but I'll need to supply her with her login details again.
Perfect. And then I've got a quick poll up. If you're not concentrating and looking at your WhatsApps or your Facebooks, if you want access to the Inner Circle brochure and or the Digital Real Estate Mastermind brochure or both, just tap on the quick voting thing. I'll give you another 5 seconds or so, and then I'll move on. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So let's close that poll, and then I want to share this quick poll. No, actually, I don't want to do that. So I'll do this poll once we've taught people how they can grow $1 million business in the space. So what I wanted to do was to give a very sneak preview, and Richard, I am conscious of the time and also conscious of the fact that it's 4 a.m. in the morning for you. But if I go back to sharing my screen, I just want to see what you guys are seeing. We've got the slides of the Inner Circle. Talk to us just quickly. We want to do this within 5 minutes around the directory and your excitement of the business and why people should be here on Thursday to understand this, not only so that they can get value to themselves, but they can add value to the world.
Yeah, the directory, there's two very distinct things there. The directory, I guess, is not a new concept by any stretch of the imagination, but if you look at the house website, they've certainly encouraged a marketplace of professionals, so that any members or users that come to their platform, the house website, can easily tap into professionals. House doesn't try to be the professional, but yet they're the marketplace that brings, the two together. And the same concept really is that if with our marketplace, the Wealth Migrate marketplace, people have questions all the time. They need to have access to not only the best answers, but the best professionals, where those professionals can be rated, social proofed over time. The questions can be answered, and there can be, very good rates, very good prices, and that for those members. It could be accountants, conveyancers, things to do with our business, primarily in technology, in real estate. And if you go through the various categories, there is quite a staggering amount of different types, which we're going to go over on Thursday, with regards to this. Not just suppliers, but service providers. So I see Scott's just brought something up there for us. But some of the questions that the team have got over the last few years collectively, we don't really want to be in that space. We are the technology people, we are the real estate people, but there is a world of experts out there that will have great offers, great advice, and we want to encourage them to come to the platform. And so in a nutshell, that's the directory, and we'll be going into that a little bit more on Thursday. So of course, anybody who's got a business that might be in one of those categories, or a suggested category, that wants to get exposure, on the directory, to different clients, to answer questions, to build networks with other businesses. That's what the directory is going to be for. That's what it's going to encourage. It's going to assist the Wealth Migrate platform, but importantly, it's going to assist users and businesses to grow as well. The other side of things, just very quickly, Amazon, perhaps many moons ago, created one of the best use cases for online businesses, where they enabled people from around the world to refer other people to their platform to purchase one of the products on the Amazon marketplace. And they've grown that very successfully. They've created a lot of millionaire out of it. And of course, on top of that, other companies have come along with similar models and improved the model and taken it to different heights as well. Based on that, and based on education being one of the most prominent forces moving forward, with what we're doing around the Wealth University, with what we've put together, the niche products we're putting together, we are going to create a very similar model to what Amazon has done. We're going to be adding products to this as we move forward. We're going to create a marketplace where it's not just our products that we've created with our experts, but they will be putting their own courses on the market, own valuable courses, creating a marketplace within a marketplace. And that will give a world of opportunity where we can encourage some of the top people, like you've heard today, who may have, like Warren Ebbett, the property whisperer of Australia, may be interested in, well, he is interested in a global reach, because business is going global. So there is going to be a lot of opportunity there, a lot of high growth products, a lot of very exciting high value products in the spaces of exponential technology and global real estate. And we'll be covering that off in a bit more detail this Thursday.
Yeah, a sneak preview is you've got a beautiful word which you call a business within a business, and if you take Amazon, it's a group of trusted businesses that are all businesses within businesses, and something you're going to be sharing on Thursday, which I'm intrigued to share with people, is the race for the person that can build the first $1 million business. And as you know, many people have built $1 million businesses, passive income businesses, on Amazon already, which is what we're looking to emulate in terms of that. So that is on Thursday, the 28th, so 2 days from now, in terms of people being able to do that. Now, I want to do a quick poll as we finish off here, in terms of who would like more information around the directory. So if you'd like to know for your own business, and or if you'd like to refer a business, for us, most people that are on this webinar have already dealt with businesses, be they accountants or lawyers or property developers or property investment companies, or even in the education space, if they're recognized, if they're trusted, and most importantly, if you've got experience with them and they've got a track record. We don't, this is not a yellow pages. This is, we're building the global trusted real estate marketplace, and we want to basically bring people with real life track records and help them move into the digital world to create their own digital track record, which obviously is to the benefit of everyone. So you can see I've got the poll up there. If the last couple of you just want to vote on that. And then really for me, I wanted to close out with this question, which I've been asking people for a while. And I'll just close out the poll in terms of where we're at. So giving you 5 more seconds if you're interested in the business, within a business, or for your own business. Again, if you're in the property industry, I don't think you can afford not to be part of the space. We've now got members in 129 countries around the world, and I believe it's really important for people not only to be digital but to be global in terms of that process. So anyway, if you didn't take action, we want people that take action fast. So the question I got for you is, what are you doing in 2019 to become a global citizen? And everything that Richard and Lee have shared tonight, oh, sorry, I'm not sharing the screen. Everything that Richard and Lee have shared tonight is ways for you to do that. It starts with the brain first. It starts with the mind. It starts with knowledge and understanding. And then it's about getting, if it's you as an individual or if it's you as a business, it's about getting you out there. And what is the Wealth University? Well, it's all about the learning, the training from the best in the world, best of breed, global authorities, so that you can learn and you can grow. And whether you're a ranked beginner or whether you are highly educated and sophisticated in a country, well, this is not about being an expert in your pond. This is about being, learning and being able to swim in the global ocean and ultimately becoming a global citizen. And so, from my side, Richard and Lee, I'm super excited. I'm really grateful for all the work that you've done, in terms of, putting this all together. It's really taken a dream that we've spoken about for many years and turned it into a reality. And to remind people, if they want to take action, and they can literally go to thewealthuniversity.org. It's really easy. They can literally go down. They can choose, the Wealth Inner Circle or the Digital Real Estate Mastermind. It's going to open up both the two. And basically, if they go, they can either join here or they can just go down to the bottom on the join today. They can either join monthly or yearly. Obviously, there's a 20% discount if you join yearly. And it's exactly the same on the Digital Real Estate Mastermind. The only thing that, if you want to sit on your hands, you want to make a decision, you want to join in June or whatever, that's your choice. But what you will miss out on is that by the 1st of April, which effectively is now the launch of the Wealth University, is that you'll get the Digital Real Estate Mastermind and you'll get the Inner Circle for free. So you're saving yourself a couple of $100 in the process and getting both sides of the fence. And that for me is probably the most important part of what we're doing tonight, is that we want to share. I want to remind you of how we started with Zig Ziglar's principle. You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And that's what Richard and Lee are trying to achieve here. We're trying to make 1 + 1 = 11. And I'll bring you, back to the final slide, which is around the wealth movement. And for us, we've got a purpose. We want to empower the 99% to be able to invest like the top 1%. And it's not only about the physical ability to be able to invest. It's not only about the ability to ultimately invest through a cell phone or anything like that. It is also about the knowledge. It's about the education. It's about the self-belief. It's about becoming a global citizen, which is what we've talked about in terms of where we're going. And that's why this Wealth University is so critically important in terms of the bigger picture. And really for me, in terms of finishing off, we most importantly want to put smart investing in every single person's pocket. And to be smart, you've got to have the knowledge before you can take the action. You've got to have the self-belief etc. in the big picture, and that's what this Wealth University is about. And so I'm hugely excited. I'm very grateful to Richard and Lee for the time that they've put together, and I'm also grateful for all of you who shared the experience. This will be one of those momentous moments in time when people look back and they go, wow, that is when the Wealth University took flight. And today it's the void and what do you call it, the maiden voyage, and you all get to take, to be part of it. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and thank you, Lee and Richard, for your time in crazy time zones and crazy hours.
Thank you, Scott, and thanks everybody for your time, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for being online and sharing this exciting evening with us. We hope that you got a lot of value, and we hope to see you on the other side.
One closing thought as we sign off for this webinar. We've built this company on nature's principles, and a bird flying on its own versus a bird flying in a flock. A bird flying in a flock can fly 70% further than a bird flying on its own. And the question I leave you with tonight as we sign off from this webinar, or if you're watching the recording, are you a bird flying on your own, or are you a bird flying in a flock? We're hopefully sharing with you a great flock to fly far, to fly sustainably, and to get you to where you want to go. Or you can get to fly on your own. Good night. It's your decision. Cheers.